Okay, we do have a question here from David that says, how much variation do you see in consumer preferences? And I think this showed up while Dr. Miller was talking. How much variation do you see in consumer preferences, Dr. Miller?
Well, that's a good question, David. And we see a lot of variation in consumer preferences. And one of the things that I knew, we could get into this in a lot of detail, is that a lot of times we'll do what we call consumer clustering, because we know there are some things that are more important for some consumers than others. And I think it'd be interesting to have to talk to our chef here, because he's in the firing line, right? He's there trying to identify what those people are. We know that there are some people that are willing to give up some tenderness for more flavor. There are some that are more tenderness driven, and there are some that are more health driven, some that are more the word sustainability is a big driver for them. And so we have identified some of those clusters to try to more closely meet what they need. So yeah, consumers are all over the place. There are, for every consumer, they're their own individual person, and they have their own driving factors. So they aren't just one people. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Miller. For those who have eaten or sold Criollo beef, is it considered to have the fat-like qualities that Dr. Miller was pointing to? And I guess this question goes to Scott Brinker. Are you seeing evidence in your interaction with consumers that the beef that they're eating has those kinds of fat-like qualities that Dr. Miller showed in her pie plot?
Well, yeah, I think people are looking for that, and it's, and the Criollo definitely, I believe, has it. I've been working with cooking Criollo beef, and now in the process of educating others on how to cook it. There's a different process involved and things you have to consider. It is extremely flavorful. Especially as compared to a grass-fed, grain-finished beef. It does taste different. It has a much sharper flavor. I guess I don't know how to describe it I'd have to study the little taste profile that she had there. But I think it would pop up real high on a nice beefy flavor, the browned beef. And there's a little bit of a gaminess to it, I guess, to call it. But when it properly aged and properly cooked, it mellows out. We do have people that tend to shy away from a little bit because there's a little bit more toothiness to it, but not so much. I think for the people that like their beef well done, they'll probably in the end shy away from this. But as I've taught classes, as I've talked to the consumer, as I get out and do more and more direct one-on-one with the consumer, I'm finding that once they learn the benefits, once they learn the characteristics of the beef, they can cook it themselves, and they're extremely happy with it. They always come back, and now, like I've been marketing it for a long time, and now it's a positive thing. People get it. You just
repeat business is its own indicator, isn't it, Scott?
Right. And business growth. It just, people are looking for it. When I say I've got, these are grass-fed, grass-finished from Audubon certified pasture Criollo beef grown right here in South Dakota. Try these meatballs. And now people are coming back and they're asking my servers, is this the Criollo? Is this the grass-fed, grass-finished stuff? So that they're looking for it. And in South Dakota, they're picky beef eaters. If it doesn't come off the feed lot, it just ain't right. But there's enough demand for the healthy side of it that people that actually try it, learn how to cook it. The demand is there, and it's increasing fast. One thing that I've noticed, once I became a major buyer here of the grass-fed, grass-finished beef, the grass-fed, grass-finished people started coming out of the woodwork. And, I get people that do, this is certified Angus and it's grass-fed, grass-finished. Well, You know, in all honesty, it tastes like garbage. That's a beef cow that's not intended to be grass-fed and grass-finished. It's just been genetically altered to the point that it needs to have that alternate finish to it. Whereas the Criollo, you know, that's all they've ever done. They're genetically in tune to their environment and surviving on their environment, and they do very well on it. So you get the flavor, you get the juiciness, the tenderness part of it can easily be taken care of in a cooking process, and you know, people definitely are waking up and wanting more.
Very good. Dr. Lawrence, one last question. How far, you showed that we got somewhere between 10 or 11% goes to prime. How far have we come in intramuscular fat over the last several decades as a result of our production technologies and so forth?
Sure. So I'll start at about the year 2000 with answering that question. If I look back in history, 21 years ago, our population of cattle graded about 55% choice and better, and the balance being select and standard. And that held relatively constant through about 2007. And then from 2007 through today, we increase a couple of percent per year, where today the average animal is, 85% choice and better now. So we've made substantial improvement, again, starting in about 2007, shifting that value from 55% to now 85% choice and better.
That's remarkable.
Future, it is remarkable. It actually is remarkable. And there's a lot of things that are at play. The primary two outcomes is an improvement in genetics. So we have put an overwhelming focus on genetic selection at the seed stock level. The Angus breed would be the leader in that effort, and they have done a fantastic job at selecting for marbling as a single trait selection. And then other breeds have followed that lead. Second behind that is we are growing an animal with more time in the feed yard, literally more days on feed, more days eating that high concentrate diet, and we're growing them bigger weights than ever before. And those two factors combined are what has pushed this curve to now being at 85% choice and better and 10% prime.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Ty. One thing I wanted to highlight here, and it's been implicit in the comments we just heard from Dr. Lawrence, more explicit in what we heard from Scott Brinker, was that genetics interact with production environment, and certain genetics may be more appropriate in one production environment than another. We see the same analogous thing happening with, for example, wheat breeding. If we breed an advanced wheat, but we don't put it in the right environment, we can't capitalize on the traits that are possible with those genetics. So anyway, we have come to the end of our time together this afternoon.